All right, I'm going to talk very briefly about our garden beds, getting them ready for spring planting in the fall and winter. You can do this in the winter too, as long as you're not covered in snow. So what I will do is rake my mulch back all the way into the walkway, and then I will go through and add rabbit manure. That's what this is here, loaded up with fresh rabbit, or not fresh rabbit manure, rotted rabbit manure that has set for a while. Sometimes it'll be a little clumped up. That's no big deal. You can tell a difference. The soil in here is nice looking in this bed, but there's a difference between this and that. So the mulch that I had on there has broken down over the summer. All of this mulch right here, starting right here, going to where it ends right there, was down there where the bare spot is at. And whenever the mulch breaks down over the course of summer, I like to pull it back. We'll get just a little more use out of it, make it thick and fluffy like this right here. And we will supplement what's missing with hay, like you can see we have done in these beds up here. And whenever we get to spring, if you add your manure, compost, everything else, and mulch it heavily, even through wintertime, what happens is in the spring, you just come in and put whatever you want in there. Your tomato transplants, your pepper transplants, your sweet potato slips, whatever. You just plug them in the garden, pull back the mulch, and you go. You put your beans in directly, have to open up a little row in the mulch, and everything's ready to go. Springtime is much smoother, much faster, much easier whenever you have all of this work done in the fall instead of trying to scramble and do your amendments and tilling and everything else in the spring, because we all know how life can get away from you. We've got a bunch of family birthdays loaded up in the springtime. And so this is just much, much easier to get this work out of the way in the fall and the winter. And then spring, you're just harvesting asparagus and such and planting the transplants and such that you've grown out, instead of worrying about all the other stuff, adding rabbit manure, compost, and then adding more mulch. You're just ready to go. So I try to do as much of this work in November and December as I can. The garden sits here, that manure breaks down, and if you lose any nutrients or whatever from rain and such, it just goes down into the soil underneath, where it's still accessible to the roots, and it's still there. The plants can still get to it. The clay and the soil underneath of these beds will hold nutrients pretty well. And so this works really, really well for us. I'm a big fan of this style.